Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets from now until Super Bowl 58 on February 11, 2024. From your favorite Wager Talk or Sports Memo handicapper for only $11.99 versus a regular price of $19.99 for a total savings of $800. This limited time super discount basically is 52 weeks at $23 per week, less than the price of one 4% play, coming out to only $3.29 per day. With the cost of a 30-day all-access priced at $2.99, it is almost like getting 8 30-day all-access passes at no additional cost. As an added bonus, your all-access starts immediately, so the sooner you buy before Super Bowl, the more additional days you get for free.
Happy Tuesday, guys. Welcome to WagerTalk TV. I'm Carmine Bianco. This is Stoppage Time. Our regular Tuesday and Thursday shows return this week. It's a slim Tuesday show, but we've found 4 games that we can talk about. One in Serie A, which goes today, Juventus and Salernitana. We've got Man United and Leeds in the EPL, and then we got a couple games in the Coupe de France, the French Cup. We'll talk about Lyon and Lille and Marseille and PSG, which is the featured match that goes on Wednesday from WagerTalk.com. Kevin Dolan and Brian Power, and of course from Sports Memo, Nick Borman. Let's bring the boys in. Kev, I'm going to go to you first, man. Listen, my weekend, I'm going to talk about my weekend first. I'll talk about it because it was all soccer plays. Sunday, pretty much a wash. Saturday, not the greatest Saturday at all. I think I dropped about 6 or 7 units. One of them, of course, was and I'll admit it was an absolutely horrible play by me on Liverpool. I wish everyone that would just troll you on that play, but unfortunately, I took care of my clients on that one. So we got another kick at the can on that one. But you, my friend, I'm seeing these posts 3-0, 7-0. You are on absolute fire, I think.
I think that's the first time my inbox hasn't been lit up. Whenever you've had that kind of, few losses, usually I get the brunt of people's frustration. But yeah, you're right, Carmine. It's been a fantastic run. 10-0 run across all leagues on the weekend. 3-0 in EPL, 7-0 across the other leagues in Europe. Number one in soccer now last 3 days, last 7 days, last 30 days. So obviously buzzing in soccer right now. And, I have the in-laws to thank for that. I mentioned this in the show a few weeks ago. Ever since they came round to visit, I had a bit of a resurgency in soccer. I rejigged my numbers and started using a lot more of that, non-penalty expected goals, packing data, pressure data. Started using all that stuff in soccer, and it's definitely been paying off. So obviously looking forward to keeping that run going. And what a great time to get hot as well with Champions League right around the corner.
Absolutely, and right around the corner it is. But definitely keep that run going. I mentioned that I was going to put the championship belt up for grabs this year on the show, and you've taken the bull by the horns, and you've got that early lead as we head into the second month of the season, or the second month of 2023. So good on you. Bri, how are things?
Things are good, Carmine. And Kevin perhaps can thank me for being on the program now, because I got the brunt of the Liverpool hate on Twitter. Somebody came at me saying, "Oh, you think Liverpool's going to bounce back still, huh?" I'm like, obviously not. No, it's not looking good. So new guy, I guess, new guy comes in. Kevin is free from that kind of shrapnel, I guess, or just loose fire, whatever. But otherwise, it's been a great 9 days, 2 weeks or so. Carmine had a big 5% win in the NBA on Sunday. It was about as good a play as really you can ask for, with the New Orleans Pelicans winning by over 30 as a slight underdog. Soccer, we are on a 12-5 run. It was kind of an uneven weekend. Saturday was good, won both client plays, but unfortunately that lean on Liverpool that I mentioned on the show was not successful. But then on Sunday, I lose both client plays, but my lean on the under in Tottenham Man City comes through. But just chasing Kevin, I guess, on the leaderboard there on the pitch. 12-5 last 17. Have a 4% best bet up for Wednesday already. Looking forward to cashing that.
All right. And Kev, listen, you saw during the Olympics, the Summer Olympics, those Italian sprinters, the 4x4 team, 4x100 teams, they can run. So I'm going to give you guys the head start. I'm going to catch up. Since 2015 at WagerTalk, I've only had one losing year, I believe, in soccer. I've been number one every other year. And that was the pandemic year where I was stuck with South Korean and Nicaraguan soccer. So I'm coming after you, buddy. So you better keep that going. Extend the visit for the in-laws. Keep them there for a couple more months, especially during Champions League season, because you and I are going to have a Champions League season or a package promo up in the next day or two for both of us. But with that in mind, Nick, let's bring you in. Tell us how things are going. And you've got a Champions League package deal going up with Pavlos, our regular Thursday guest.
Yes, things are going good. Just got back from the Bahamas last week. Ran out of money after my stay there. That place just took it all. I mean, I didn't even gamble. Everything's expensive, but it was awesome. Weather was great. Recharged, ready to go for Champions League as it begins next week. And as you mentioned, Pavlos and I have teamed up for a package. You can grab either one of us just for $99. It gets you all the way through the Champions League final, which is late this year, June 10th, or you can get both for $149. So that's Pavlos and I for both packs for $149. So definitely a good promo there. You can check that out at Sports Memo. But other than that, things are good. Looking forward to it'll be a quiet week this week. But as Kevin loves to talk about, this is a big week in golf. We got our first huge field event this week coming, and I'm looking forward to that. I got a big play going on Thursday in that as well.
Awesome. Keep on winning, Nick. Let's get right to it, guys. First game on the board, and this one goes today at 3 p.m. Eastern time. In Salerno, Juve travel to face Salernitana. The odds on this one, Salernitana plus 492. The draw is plus 319. Juve minus 175. Kev, I'm just going to make a couple of quick points on this one, and then I'm going to go to you on this one. I like Juve in this spot, and it's not because I'm a Juve fan. It is because this quite possibly is with Federico Chiesa now after some spot plays. He played the game against Lazio, the Italian Cup, the game they win 1-0 at home. He is back in the starting 11. This is quite possibly their strongest lineup that they've had all season long. I think it is their strongest lineup that they've had all season long. And this is a team, while they are mired in 12th place because of the 15-point reduction, that still remains to be seen if that's going to be overturned or not. So these are still important games for them. If they're looking at the fact that 15 points is either going to be reduced or completely eliminated in the courts. It's before the courts right now. So these games are important for them. The handicap here, 175 is a little bit out of my comfort zone. Of course, I have that juice tolerance, but the goal line here is -1, and this is where I'm leaning right now. I'm taking the -1, and I know you and I are going to go mano a mano on this one, Kev. So I will let you go. Juve -1 for me. Give me your thoughts, Kev.
Yeah, I mean, they just don't look like the same team since it happened to me. Even that recent Coppa Italia win against Lazio didn't really restore a whole pile of confidence for me in them. Lazio had more attacks, they had more dangerous attacks, they had more block shots. So, ever since this financial penalty resulted, there seems to be a bit of wind out of the sails in Juventus, whether we see it get overturned or not. Especially from a defensive standpoint, we look at Juventus and how good they were. I believe it was 0.41 goals per game they gave up in the league across their 17 games prior to mid-January. That was one of the best defensive units in the whole of Europe. And now we look at them, 3.33 goals per game given up across their last 3 league starts. It's like night and day to watch them right now. They just look a bit unfocused to me. I know they've played some good teams over that stretch, obviously with Napoli and so on. But they seem to be a team, again, just my opinion, focusing more on the Coppa Italia, focusing more probably on the Europa League. In terms of the league, I just don't know if the focus is there. And, looking at the other side of the play, Salernitana are a bit better than advertised in my book. They did cause some issues for Napoli and AC Milan over recent games at home. They rank 11th in offensive scoring at home this year as well. And that fact in particular is the main reason why I can't be back in Juventus in this spot, laying a full goal head start. because, Salernitana scored against Torino in this venue. They scored against AC Milan. They've already scored a brace against Juventus in their last meeting in the league as well. And if they score here also, to then be in a position where I now need Juventus to score 3 goals in order to cash a ticket on them, something they haven't done on the road all season. I just can't get behind that personally. So, I already fired a 1% play on Salernitana +1 to cover at home in this one. So it's definitely not a game of the week by any means. But I just don't see a Juventus blowout in this one. So, Salernitana +1 for me.
All right, Kevin Dolan, WagerTalk.com. Him and I going mano-a-mano this one, and I still think at some point this 15-point reduction gets reduced, which is why I think points moving forward are going to be important, because even if they reduce those 15 to, I've seen them do it before, where they reduce the 15 points down to about 6 points, and even making up 6 points within that top 4 placing for the Champions League is tough to do on its own. But this should be a good one today. I'm looking forward to it. The reverse fixture needed a late, I think it was a 93rd minute goal by Leonardo Bonucci to draw 2-2 at home against Salernitana. So they dropped points there. I don't think they're going to want to drop points again, but I thought the same thing when they played Monza, and they've come away with 2 losses against that Monza team. So enough of Serie A. Let's move on to the Premier League and Man United and Leeds. Let's have a look at the odds on this one. United at home, -188. The draws, +375. Leeds, +450. Nick, I'm going to go to you first on this one. Managerial change at Leeds on the weekend after yet another loss by this team. We saw what happened to Everton with the managerial when Kevin's Frankie boy was let go and Sam Dyche comes in, and they beat Arsenal in what I always say is the trickiest game of the day, the 7:30 game on Saturdays. Do we see another shocker here?
I don't think so. We do always talk about the managerial effect and how it does have usually a positive impact on teams, not necessarily for the long term, but maybe in that first, second, third game, whatever, right away. And maybe it will have a positive impact, but it's hard to get in front of this United train right now. I mean, they rolled to another win over Crystal Palace this last weekend, 11 wins from 13 games since the World Cup break. It did come at a cost, though. Casemiro was handed his first red card in his career. Will be banned the next 3 matches, including this one. But still hard to see anything but United winning here. However, I don't like the price. This is actually climbing north of 2-1 now, so over -200 I'm seeing on DraftKings and such right now, and -1.25 on the Asian handicap. So I'm not comfortable, Carmine, in either one of those scenarios, laying that kind of price. Instead, what I usually like to do is, if I still think they're going to win, I'm going to try to look to maybe pair that with another market, this being the totals market, and pair that with the under. The one thing that United has been doing very, very well since the break is defensively. They've been playing very good. In their 11 wins, only twice did the match finish with more than 3.5 goals. Both of those happen to come in cup matches, so none of those have happened during the Premier League matches. If you believe United will win this game, it just seems likely that it's going to come in that kind of fashion, maybe a 2-0, a 2-1, or even a 3-0 win. All gets you there. They've kept 7 clean sheets in 13 matches, guys. They've allowed more than 1 goal only one time, which was that 2-3 loss versus Arsenal. But against inferior opponents, which you have to say Leeds would be, they've been rock solid at the back, especially at home, where they've won all 9 matches since the break, keeping 5 clean sheets, never allowing more than 1 goal. Leeds, yes, the change, but I mean their form has been really, really poor. They got 2 wins in 9 matches since the break. Both of those came in the FA Cup. They're winless in 6 Premier League games. They did it in a few, however, at home versus Brentford and West Ham. They did have an impressive road draw at Newcastle, but they lost to Man City at home, and on the road they lost to Aston Villa and just most recently Nottingham this past weekend, which is not a good result at all. They've been blanked 3 times in those 6 Premier League matches, including just scoring 1 goal in 3 away matches. So I think this is going to be a United win. I don't see a lot of goals coming either. Their defense is playing well. So United money line plus under 3.5 goals. You can get this from anywhere from about +120 all the way up to +140 right now. So I see good value in pairing that together.
All right, Nick Borman of Sports Memo. Bryan will be on the next couple of games, so we're going to go back to Kevin for this one. Kev, there's rumors if Leeds survive the Premier League that the manager from your favorite team in the Scottish Premier, the Premiership, could be going to Leeds and managing them. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I seen that in the news this morning, Carmine. Obviously that'd be a real shame from a Celtic perspective. He's done an amazing job. I'm sure the Rangers fans would chip in and buy him a ticket down south. They're sick. They're probably sick of losing to the guy, but he's a fantastic manager. And to be honest, Celtic are doing so well that it'd be hard to see him staying up there long term, kind of like Brendan Rodgers and Martin O'Neill in the past as well. But I agree with a lot of Nick's points. It is a tough game to call because, we saw it with Everton the weekend. We saw it with Wolves as well. We even saw it with caretaker manager Gary O'Neill over at Bournemouth when he took, his first full week in charge. Bournemouth go out and beat Nottingham Forest. So, whenever we see a manager change at a club, especially if there was a big downward spiral, which is obviously what was happening at Leeds, winless and 7 straight in the league. Often, whether a kind of new permanent manager has been announced or not, it's called a new manager bounce for a reason. Teams tend to play better in their first game after the change, so it's generally a situation. I don't want to step in front of all that much. But Nick mentioned it. United have been absolutely exceptional over the last few months. I actually remember messaging you, Carmine, during the Brentford result back at the start of the season, on your top 4 ticket on United, they were getting absolutely smashed to pieces 4-0 at half time, if you guys remember that. I messaged Carmine saying you may throw that ticket in the fire. United look an absolute shambles right now. This was obviously pre-Ronaldo's departure, but, I'm certainly not laughing now. I wish I had a top 4 ticket on them because they look absolutely nailed on for a Champions League spot this season, ranked joint first in the league on total points gained and expected points since November 1st. So, like I said, it is a tricky one to call here on Wednesday. Leeds will be coming into this one with the shackles off, so to speak. But, United have been a freight train at home this season, I should say. 13 straight wins now inside Old Trafford. So I'm just about going to lean with United to win this one by the slimmest of margins. Winning margin prop, Man United to win by 1 goal, plus 235. Leeds have got blown out by United across their last 2 league starts inside Old Trafford. But with that new manager change for them here, I do think we see a closer game on Wednesday. Lean with Nick's under as well, especially being 2 old rivals. So, yeah, Man United to win by 1 goal on the winning margin prop for me in this one, plus 235. I like that price.
Ooh, I like that price as well, Kev. So good luck on that one. I think I'll fill that in. And yeah, speaking of the futures, I was looking through my account on some of the EPL preseason future bets that I have, and my 4 favorite ones and my bigger ones are all in good shape right now, which were United to finish top 4, Chelsea to not finish top 4, Erling Haaland 25 or more Premier League goals, and he's at 25 right now. So that one is cashed, but they still have not made it official. And then for Haaland to win the top goal scorer in the Premier League. So those are looking good. A couple of the other ones, like Arsenal not to finish top 4, aren't doing as well. But I'm hoping that maybe that loss to Everton spirals them down. They still have to play City a couple more times. So we'll see what happens there. We're heading over to a couple Wednesday games in France, the Coupe de France, the French Cup. Let's look at the first one, Lyon and Lille. The line on this one, Lyon minus 118 at home. The draws plus 240, Lille plus 275. Bri, you have had a lot of chance to rest up on this show, but we need to hear from you now. Tell us what you got here.
Yeah, the vocal cords all ready to go here. All right, so both sides, pretty good form right now. You could argue both should be higher in the league table, right? Lille, just 1 loss. Its last 11 competitions, 6 wins, 4 draws in there. Lyon, just 1 loss in its last 7. And Lyon, lower in the table, sitting 9th. They're probably more desperate. They won 1-0 in October against Lille. Cup play, probably more added importance for them because they're lower in the table. We, of course, should point out for those who may have forgotten or are unaware that it is not top 4 in the Champions League, guaranteed Champions League in Ligue 1. But it just top two, and the third gets a qualifying spot. But the one thing that gives me pause here, Lille has the second most expected points in the league on the road this season, only PSG being higher. My official lean here is going to be both teams to score. I know it has not hit in any of the last three fixtures between these two. As a matter of fact, just two total goals scored in those three fixtures. But in that October meeting, both generated over 1.0 XG. In two matches last week, a lot of expected goals from both sides, including 3 each in wins on Saturday. I think both get on the score sheet here. It's only minus 140. That's not a bad price. Both teams to score here.
All right, there you go. We finally heard from Bryan, and we finally see him up on the screen. It was me for a little while, and I've got a face made for radio, so I was a little fearful. Dan, our fearless leader, would leave me up there longer than I needed to be. Nick, I'm going to go to you next on this one. Give me your thoughts. Lyon and Lille.
I agree with Bryan. I mean, this is going to be a pretty tight game. It has proven to be that way in the series history. Obviously, we're talking a cup match versus, being a League One match, but it shows these teams pretty close, even though they are separated a little bit in the standing. A lot of the statistics are very close. However, even though they're close, they all slightly favor Lille. They lead the league in volume this season. Actually, they rank number one in both total shots for and shots allowed, ahead of PSG in both of those categories. They've generated the second most expected goals per match. They've allowed the fifth fewest expected goals, according to Opta. On the road, they've been even stronger. I like to look at road teams, on the other, get a good, idea of how strong that team is. If you can play well on the road, you can play well, obviously, anywhere and take care of business at home. But they've allowed the second fewest expected goals on the road this year, with the second best expected goal differential, only trailing PSG in that market. Comparatively, Lyon at home, they kind of mediocre, and they should be better than where they are. They're sixth most expected goals at home and fifth most expected goals allowed. Both teams, Bryan mentioned, probably should be a little higher in the table. Both have been underperforming, but Lyon, they've won only in 22 league games this year. And because of that, they're 7-14-1 against the spread this year. So not a team, because they're usually favored, and as they are here, they're just not a team that have been covering that a lot. Lille, they've only had 6 losses in League One, so 16-6. If you want to look at what I'm going to suggest, which is the double chance on Lille, also just plus a half a goal if you look at the Asian handicap. It's just been, if you look at the head-to-head series between these teams, Bryan mentioned the 1-0 Lyon win earlier this year. That snapped a streak of 12 matches, either won or drew versus Lyon. And then over the last 22 matches, Lyon has only won 3 times over Lille. So it's just been a series that Lille has dominated well in. I like to take the head start in a game I think is going to be very close, and statistically speaking, Lille is slightly better. So I'm going to go double chance, or same as plus a half a goal on Lille. I was able to get this at minus 130 on Sunday. Looks like it's at about minus 140 right now, so still good value there. But Lille double chance is how I'm looking for this match.
All right, Nick Borman of Sports Memo. Guys, before we head into the second game in the Coupe de France, it is Tuesday, so obviously it is $2 Tuesdays at WagerTalk and Sports Memo. $2 Tuesdays is where you can get a featured Cappers Plays for only $2, along with some great long-term subscription deals as well, too. These are plays that normally go for, like I said, $25 and $35. Over at WagerTalk, it is Dwayne Bryant. He has a college basketball 5% play. He is number one since I think December of last year, with December of for the last 2 years, I believe, with these plays. Over at Sports Memo, it is Tim Michaels. He has a non-conference dominator play, 13-0 with these plays. Also, R&R totals with a 5-unit NBA total best bet. And then Cajun Sports with an NBA Black Label reverse insider play. I could use some Black Label after this show. Let's go back to the final game on today's card. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Marseille and PSG. This is the featured game on a Wednesday. The odds on this one, Marseille at home, plus 230. The draw is plus 240. PSG, even money, plus 100 on this one. Bryan and I are going to look at this. Bryan, I'm going to just make a couple points before I throw it over to you. Sometimes with these cup games, you look at what I look at what a team's schedule is coming up, and where their importance lies. You look at this PSG team, and I get it. This is a cup game, but this is a team where Neymar just returned to practice yesterday for the first time. We don't know what his match fitness is, but he's part of the travel team, the 20 players that made the trip to Marseille, along with obviously Lionel Messi. Whether they start the game or whether they play the second half remains to be seen, because this team also plays, have a big game against Monaco on the weekend, Bayern Munich in Champions League on Tuesday, come home and play Lille, and then Bayern Munich again, followed by Marseille. This is an absolute killer schedule. I'm not sure if the Coupe de France means that much to them at this point. They'll put forth a good effort, but Marseille, their loss to a red-hot Nice on the weekend was their first loss of the new year. This team's playing extremely well. Plus 230 is just too enticing for me to pass up here. Give me Marseille plus 230. Over to you, Bri.
Okay. We've got the top two in the league table as they were a season ago here. Marseille, you just mentioned it, Carmine. 10-match unbeaten run ends over the weekend with a 3-1 loss. Typically, now, I would like to fade when a streak like that ends, but for what it's worth, Marseille did win the XG battle in that last match. And since the World Cup break, they have not had a match where they posted fewer than 1.3 expected goals. And, PSG, we know they're the class of this league, and they continue to win. But you bring up the starting 11 because it's a cup match, Carmine. That's a great point. And they needed to come from behind to win over the weekend. And over their last 9 matches, PSG has kept just 2 clean sheets. And now, on the flip side, there have been only 2 matches all season where they failed to score. They have 10 goals in the 2 cup matches. Won't be anything like that here. Marseille, they've scored in every competition since October 26th. Now, initially, I was going to go with the both teams to score prop here, but that is getting a little lofty for my taste. It was up to minus 180 as of last night. And Carmine, if you're going to go out on a limb like you just did there, my goodness, I should go out on a little bit of a limb here as well. Not quite as big of a limb, but I will take Marseille plus half of the goal. I think at the very least, yes, they will be even at the end of 90 minutes plus stoppage time here.
All right. Love to hear it that we are on the same side here. So we'll have rooting interest, both of us, on that game Wednesday. I'll definitely be watching that. Of all the Coupe de France games that are being played on Wednesday, that is by far the best one of the day. So it gives us some great matches for today and tomorrow that we get to watch. And then we're right back on Thursday stoppage time, where we'll look at some of the weekend games. And there are some fantastic weekend games coming up. And Pavlos will be on that show. He's in our chat right now, talking to some of the viewers. So thanks for doing that, Pavlos. All right, guys, we are going to go to the recap. We'll see what every capper has. I'm going to go to Kevin first on this one. Kev, a recap. We'll put the recap up, and then let us know what you have going on at WagerTalk.
Yeah, Carmine, we've got a 5% NBA max bet loaded up for tonight. 17-8 run, our last 25 5% NBA max bets, along with being the number 1 NBA profit leader since we first joined WagerTalk all the way back in October 2018 also. So definitely a sport we've continued to crush season after season. Obviously, we don't need to go over how good soccer's been to us lately too, but you can take advantage of all that. We've got a 3-day all access code up right now, Irish 39. That gets a 3-day pass down to just $39, knocks $20 off the regular price. So great time to jump on board, obviously, and looking forward to a massive week ahead.
All right. I'm looking forward to you continuing to win, because you and I, my friend, are going to, we have the office working on a great combo deal for the two of us. And anyone who's followed myself or your plays as we head into February for the last couple of years knows we've had some fantastic February marches, especially with Champions League. Chelsea a couple of years ago winning the Champions League at 20-1 for both of us. Last year, Real Madrid 18 and 33-1 for me as well too. And I think you jumped on the Real Madrid train with some plays along the way as well too. So let's try and have another one, Kev, as we move along. Nick, What do you have up at Sports Memo? And we'll have a look at your recap on the screen.
Yeah, sure. I got 2 soccer plays going on Tuesday. That is all for today. 2 more set for action on Wednesday. And then I mentioned the big golf tournament this week going on at the Waste Management Phoenix Open. So great time to be a Phoenix resident. That tournament ends in Scottsdale, right next to Phoenix on Sunday. Of course, you got the Super Bowl there. It's going to be a wild time. If there's ever a golf tournament you want to watch, this is it. They have grandstands around the course. It's something special. But got a big play going there. You can get that package over at sportsmomo.com. And then I mentioned the 2 soccer ones, and looking forward to continue to stay hot as we move forward.
All right, Nick, good luck with those. If you have some, I could always use a few golf plays. I like my winners. I had to check my phone to make sure it was working properly because I didn't get Brian's easy 30-point winner on the weekend in the NBA. So hopefully we get those sort of moving forward. But I have a couple of friends that I met at the WagerTalk meet and greet last year that have come to Vegas a couple of times, and we've hung out. They live in Arizona, and they are going to that tournament. And apparently the 16th hole is the best one there as far as having fun and having some beers. So I'll make it out there one of these days. Brian, what do you got up at Wager Talk? And we'll have a look at your leans.
Yeah, first I should mention it was nice to represent Wager Talk over the weekend at the Kent State Akron basketball game. What an environment that was. A little MAC basketball, packed house in the jar, 5,800 people for some Mid-American Conference basketball. So that was a good start to the weekend. We had the good end. I mentioned the 5% NBA play up currently right now. Have a 4% college basketball play for tonight. Nice run in college hoops, 19-8-1. I mentioned the 12-5 soccer run. Have a 4% play for tomorrow afternoon there. And of course, the big one you may have heard this Sunday is the Super Bowl. I have a 5% play on Chiefs Eagles on an 8-1 run with all 5% plays going back to late December. That I do believe is number 1 at Wager Talk over that time frame. So looking forward to another big week, guys.
And I hope you have one, Brian. Definitely keep it going, and we'll see you on Thursday's show. Myself, right now, no soccer plays up. I may release a client play, which will not be up for sale, but it's likely going to be on Juve Lane, the 1 goal. So I'm going to go against Kev on that one. Pablos did mention in the chat that if the game ends Juve winning by a goal, the 2 of us will push, and then we'll still remain friends on Thursday's show. We'll always be friends, Kev. So don't worry about that. 1 play up in NHL tonight thus far. It is a 5% play, 3-0 with 5% NHL in 2023. Let's see if we can keep that run going with another winner tonight. You can get that over at Wager Talk, and there's a promo code in it for the NFL plays and props package that I have up for the Super Bowl. There's a teaser in there, 18-1-1, the last 20 NFL teasers released at Wager Talk. So we'll see if we can keep that run going. Guys, we'll be back on Thursday, 10 a.m. Pablos will jump into the Sports Memo hot seat along with Kevin, Brian, and myself, and we'll look at some of the big weekend games. Until then, for myself, Nick Borman, Kevin Dolan, and Brian Power, this is Stoppage Time. Good luck with your wagers, guys.
Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets from now until Super Bowl 58 on February 11, 2024. From your favorite Wager Talk or Sports Memo handicapper for only $11.99 versus a regular price of $19.99 for a total savings of $800. This limited time super discount basically is 52 weeks at $23 per week, less than the price of one 4% play, coming out to only $3.29 per day. With the cost of a 30-day all-access priced at $2.99, it is almost like getting 8 30-day all-access passes at no additional cost. As an added bonus, your all-access starts immediately, so the sooner you buy before Super Bowl, the more additional days you get for free.